And hello again, Yellow Jacket fans. Joining me for this segment is head women's basketball coach, Corey Thomaston. Coach, thank you for joining us.
James, pleasure to be here.
Well, let's talk about the preseason. Let's talk about your team. Just so far, what are your thoughts through preseason as we're getting closer to the regular season beginning?
We've been working really hard. We're about 3.5 weeks into the preseason now, with our first scrimmage coming up Saturday at Austin College. And the girls have been working really hard. They've come back building off of what we were able to accomplish last year. The expectations are higher, and for the returning players, they've done a really good job of transferring the knowledge from the things that we learned last year into this year, and doing a great job of doing some peer coaching and things like that, and just really setting the bar high for the young girls that have come in to the program who are also going to make an impact. So we're really excited right now. We're looking forward to playing somebody else, kind of at that point where we've been beating up on each other, that we really want to kind of test ourselves and then re-gauge before we open up next weekend.
Now, tell me a little bit, obviously a great season last year, turned it around 13-12. You yourself named ASC East Coach of the Year. What does this team have to do to get to that next level, getting to the ASC tournament, and then what does this team also have to do to stay hungry and not be satisfied with just getting to where they were last year?
Yeah, and that's one of the things that we address right off the bat with our returning players, because there was a lot of patting on the back going on last year after the season, and rightfully so. Those girls, they earned it. They did a great job of getting the program going in the right direction. Our concern, mine and Coach Brown's concern coming into this year, was they had a little bit of taste. It's going to go one of two ways. Either they're going to be satisfied, or it's going to make them hungrier. And we've been really impressed with the fact that they are hungrier coming off of last year. They have the expectation of win, not just the hope of winning now. And I think it's really going to change the mindset of the program itself. And because of that, like I said, they've come out and they've busted their tails since day one, and they've worked really hard to make that a reality. As far as getting over the hump, there were some major areas of deficiency last year for us, things that were tangible, things on a stat sheet that you could point at and say, these are the reasons why you didn't make the conference tournament. You tied for 4th in the league, but the reason you were at home when 8 teams were going to Louisiana College last year was because of free throws, 3-point field goal percentage, and turnovers. We addressed that heavily in the recruiting process this summer. We went out and we looked to solidify our backcourt, and we had some really good post play last year that really anchored us and kept us in games and won games for us. And our guard play was inconsistent. Some nights they would be really strong, and some nights you couldn't find them. So we went out and we brought in 11 or 12 girls that we could have fight for positions 1 through 3, and they've done a great job of coming in and making an impact in those areas that we knew we were deficient in, and knowing that those are the areas we've got to fix to get to the conference tournament and compete for a championship, not to just get there.
Now tell us a little bit about your upperclassmen. One senior this year, handful of juniors. Tell us what you're expecting from them this season, not only on the court, but in a leadership role this season.
Well, we've worked really hard developing them as leaders. I am very big on the fact that if you don't have internal leadership on the floor, in the locker room, in the dorms, then your program is just not very good. And Lauren Giannis, our lone senior, probably her best attribute is her ability to lead by example off the floor. She does a great job on campus. She's an ambassador on this campus in so many areas, and she takes the recruits in, she shows them around, she does a great job of just selling the program, and does a really nice job for us in that area. The 4 juniors have embraced more so on the floor leadership responsibilities, particularly starting at the point position with Jessica Manis. Starting to come into her own. She's starting to turn into the young lady that we recruited out of high school, who has just, for the last 2 years, has been inconsistent. She's been really good at times and has been non-existent at times as well. We've talked about that. She has a high motor and a high desire to be better, and she's proven that. She stepped on the floor this year from day one, August the 26th or 27th, whenever we started classes, with the intention of being a better leader. And because of that, her desire to improve and to grow in knowledge every day has made her into a good leader. Now we're looking forward to seeing how that turns out in games. In practice, it's been really good. Jalencia Curtis and Andrea Ashley have taken their individual games to another level, and because of that, now they have more confidence in what they are doing so that they can now share that with the other players, and that's been big. And Alexis Wigeman is in that same group that Juju is in, and the fact that her individual game, when she's healthy, has gotten better, and so now she has a real high competitive spirit, and that toughness that we need, and one of the things that we've identified with her that she has to bring for this team is that the team last year was tough in sometimes by position, but as a whole we were not as tough as we needed to be last year to grind it out. And so those four juniors, they really complement each other in that we have some internal leadership, we have some on-the-floor leadership. The one thing that they all have in common is they work very hard every single day. They don't take days off, or they haven't to this point. I don't expect them to. Because of that, they got the taste last year.
Now, you brought a good bit of newcomers in, some from junior college, some just straight freshmen. You also have a couple of returners who are going into their sophomore season. So just give us a little bit of also your expectations for them, what you're hoping they're able to bring to the team this season.
Well, start right off the bat with the two transfer guards. Ashley Fajardo out of California has come in, and she has really been the player that we saw on film, and the player that her junior college coach. She came from Irvine Valley Community College. She's a leader on the floor. She's had some health problems, just been sick with pneumonia and things like that. It's hurt her conditioning a little bit, but as far as getting it, she gets it. She understands. She's real cerebral. You tell her how to do things one time, she picks it up, and she can also help others. So she's been a great on-the-floor presence for us. Off the floor, she's worked extremely hard. She and Jessica Manis have teamed up together and have been really good pushing each other. The other transfer guard is Shirelle Williams. She played at Paris Junior College last year as a freshman, so she has 3 years of eligibility left, and is from Detroit, Michigan originally. Detroit to Texas is a big adjustment for her, and so she has essentially put herself in basketball. And just a phenomenal young lady, works hard in the classroom. She brings just pure raw athleticism to the floor, and works very hard. Is still working on her game. Like I said, she's only a sophomore, and you can tell that she still does some things that young players make mistakes doing. But she has a very high ceiling, and has been a great presence on the floor, just from the standpoint of trying to find somebody that can defend her. Has made our other guards better, having to work hard to keep up with her at times. The freshman class is really strong. We've got a solid group of what I mentioned, perimeter players that have come in. Ashley Stevens, a young lady out of C.E. King High School down in Houston, is going to be an immediate impact. We've got a young lady from Sunray and Kaylee Green that will come in and do some great things for us right off the bat. Both of them are really picking things up and understanding things. Laura Driscoll, another shooter from Lovelady, Texas, and Kelsey Milku, a bigger shooter, 5'10", shooting guard. Both of them are going to provide some of that that's what they do type thing, where we know when we put them on the floor, that's what we're going to get from them. And we've got some more that have just come in and balanced it out. We've got a couple of post players, Erica Carson, the local girl from Overton High School, and Cessna Reed from Trenton. Both of them are young, big body posts that are going to be very good for us in the future. They're fortunate enough right now to have upperclassmen to play behind and to look to so that they can learn. And once they figure things out, they're going to be really good. So we balance things out pretty well. And really, we're not nearly as one-dimensional this year as we were last year.
Now, tell us a little bit. You start the first month, basically November. You were on the road the whole month, and then finally come back home in December. Really spending a lot of time on the road this season. So just kind of tell us how you're preparing your team for those road trips to start the season before you're even back at home in December.
Yeah, it's going to be tough, and I like to challenge us. We did it last year, and it worked out well for us to challenge us to go on the road. My thinking there is be tested early, find out what you're made of so that you can make adjustments. If things are easy early on, sometimes kids get comfortable and they don't understand what they need to focus on because, well, if they won, then that's what they see. They don't see the process so much as they see the result. And we are very process-oriented in the fact that we want to make sure that our stance is right, that our communication is right, that our execution is where it needs to be, and that will be exposed on the road. Another thing is, I like for our girls to get off campus and travel together early on. I think it really builds the cohesion. We've got good chemistry with this group, and I think that it just gets better when they have to go off and they have to rely just on each other for that weekend, and opening tournament, those kind of things. Our 2 preseason events with Austin College this Saturday in a scrimmage, and then we go up to Division II, Henderson State next Wednesday. Both of those are going to be great tests, 2 completely different styles, and we do that on purpose. One is going to be a smash mouth, big body, slow the ball down type offense in Austin College, and the other one is going to be run and gun with the Division II athletic team up at Henderson State. So to give us a chance to see our versatility, how do we react to the 2 different styles? Can we play both styles? I think we can, but until we're tested, we won't know. And then we get to go play the defending conference champions twice in a 12-day span, and you know, that's going to be tough. But again, if you want to be the best, you got to beat the best. And we will know early on going down and playing in Concordia's tournament. We played Whittier College out of California, and don't know a whole lot about them yet. We'll be interested to find out what they bring to the table, but we know exactly what Concordia is going to bring. And we invite the challenge. It's going to be tough. It's tough to play them wherever you play them. You can play them on Mars, and it will be hard. But playing them in their house is very difficult. But our girls, I think, are going to rise to the challenge. And we're going to grow, regardless of the final outcome. We're going to grow from that. But we go down there with the expectations of winning. And then we finally do get to come home and host Slow Loss and Howell Paint. By that point, we're 5 or 6 games in. And I expect us to be really starting to take the shape of the type of team that we're establishing.
Now, at the end of the day, what are some of your team goals, and with those goals, what's it going to take to accomplish those goals?
Right off the bat, the conference tournament has not been achieved here in quite some time, and so obviously that's our number 1 goal, is getting to the conference tournament. You can't make noise in the conference tournament if you don't get there. And then our second goal is to get there and make noise, and to be a presence, not just to be that 4th spot that everybody's like, oh, wow, great, you made the tournament. No, we want to get there. We want to compete for a championship. We know it's going to be a West Division team that's going to host, so we're going to go on the road somewhere, and we want to get to the conference tournament. We want to play in the NCAA tournament this year. We like the group that we have, and that's a goal of ours, whether it's an at-large or by winning the AQ. We want to get to the NCAA tournament this year. And now, we've got some young ladies that say that. They don't understand what that means yet. We're teaching them the day in, day out process of how hard you have to work, how disciplined you have to be, how you can't cut corners on any fundamental aspect to get to that point. And so that's the process for us. It's the daily grind of making sure that we don't leave anybody behind, that we pick it up as a team, that we move forward as a team, and that we continue to repeat the motions day in and day out until they are ingrained in us, so that when we step on the floor, we're not thinking about execution, we're thinking about playing basketball, and the execution comes naturally.
Well, Coach, good luck to you this season.
Thanks a lot. Appreciate it.
Don't forget, the women's basketball team will have their first scrimmage this weekend, and then they will have their first game on November 16th against Whittier College. Be sure to check out LETU Athletics for all up-to-date information on the LeTourneau basketball team and all athletics. And also, don't forget to subscribe to BuzzVision, our new YouTube page, and follow us on Facebook and Twitter. Thank you.